Hello everyone, good evening and welcome to the Al Pass Arena. It is BUCS Super Rugby Round 3, Hartpury versus Leeds Beckett. The last time this great competition reached its rightful conclusion at Twickenham, it was these two teams who battled it out for glory. Fitting that we return here for this live match between these two BUCS Super Rugby powerhouses. Joining me, Joe Burns. Good to be back, isn't it, mate?
It is good to be back, David. You've stolen my line earlier on that we discussed before we came on camera, that these two teams are one of the dominant forces, two of the dominant forces rather. Obviously, Hartpury, the only team to lift the BUCS Super Rugby Cup. We're going to be joined by the captain who last lifted it earlier tonight on comms, and then Leeds Beckett obviously went on a rampaging run to make the final last time. They've started at a lick this season, 2 from 2, maximum points. We're in for a thrilling game.
What was interesting about that Leeds Beckett run to the final is it was quite similar to what Hartpury had done the season before. So could their big start, their fast start, be a little bit of a false dawn, because teams do seem to find their way in? And could this evening be exactly that? Hartpury came unstuck here at the Al Pass Arena against Loughborough in the first week. You've already mentioned Leeds Beckett going 2 from 2. Basically, you're commentating and I'm presenting this evening, so I'm putting all the onus on you. What can we expect? Because I haven't got a clue.
Yeah, it's a weird position to be in for me, but happy to speak about it, because I think that one thing that we've seen in this league over the years, that fast starts don't necessarily mean that you're lifting silverware at the end of the season. In fact, Hartpury, who've always gone on to lift the trophy from Twickenham, have had indifferent starts, and they've taken their time to understand their DNA and the fabric of each other as a team. And you know, it pains me to say it as an Exeter alumni, but Exeter have always gone well in the league. They've been consistently great. They've topped the league most times, apart from Durham on the last occasion. But then when it's come to the knockouts, they haven't had the momentum to take themselves all the way to Twickenham. So while a fast start for Leeds Beckett is impressive, and they'll want to make it 3 out of 3 here against Hartpury, it doesn't write the script for the rest of the season. It doesn't make you the hero at the end of the novel.
Well, you've mentioned your old boys, Exeter University. They've beaten Cardiff today, so they are 3 from 3. They've had another rocket start and sit at the top of the league. Before we move on to them, let's talk about that Hartpury DNA and Sean Lynn, who has cast I'm not going to say a long shadow, because that would be erroneous, but he certainly cast a dominant shadow. But
small and unusual shadow.
Yes, but a victorious winning shadow. He's in charge of Gloucester Hartpury women. Stick with us, because we had a great chat with Mo Hunt, who speaks greatly about Sean Lynn, who I'll be catching up with at half-time. It's a full show today. But they're under new management, but we still expect that same Hartpury DNA to run through this team.
Well, you've got Dan Murphy, who's the head honcho now, and he's worked with Sean Lynn across all of these years. And you speak about the DNA of Hartpury, which is win, 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 trophy, trophy, trophy. But just chatting to Craney before we came on, that one thing that is different, all the personnel is different here. All the characters, all the players are new to this, and there isn't the natural progression of having experienced players left in the camp for the younger ones to learn from. And I think that that's going to be really interesting, that these boys don't have someone who's been there and won it to look up to set the standard and to drive the standards. They've got to create those standards themselves, and so they're on a learning curve, and I'm sure that Dan is as well, despite having been in the environment since, well, the day dot basically.
There are still plenty of familiar faces here at Hartpury. But let's have a chat about Exeter then. Massive day for the club, massive day for BUCS Super Rugby, because Chris Chiunza has made his debut for Exeter University in that win over Cardiff University and been called up to the Wales squad in the same day. Now, this isn't just a student who's been plucked out of obscurity. He's been on the radar for a little while, and he's somebody you came across at the St Joe's Festival a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's an insane story. I think he got called up for Wales before he actually played for Exeter University today. So he has played for the Chiefs 4 times this season, coming off the bench, and there was a real clamour to sign him across the UK. He went to Whitchurch High School, which is where Sam Warburton, Gareth Bale, Geraint Thomas, they all went. So there's something in the water at that high school. But he chose Exeter, and I believe that part of it was the opportunity to earn a degree, play BUCS Super Rugby, and now he's in the Wales squad. So we've had Seb Negri before, I think, that he was capped or brought into the Italy squad whilst playing here at Hartpury, but we haven't seen it for a long, long time, and he's 19 years old. only just made his BUCS Super Rugby debut and he's in the Wales squad. I mean, it's ridiculous.
I'd like to thank Simon Cruz for that stat, by the way. Regular BUCS Super Rugby fans will know about Simon. If you don't, then you do now. He's also told me that those are the only Tier 1 players who've come straight from university to international, but Caetano Branco, who was at Nottingham Trent, did in the Tier 2. We've also got Toby Francis playing today, who's a fully capped Spanish international, and we are here at the El Pas Arena, which is the former home of the legend of BUCS Super Rugby, that is Swervin Irvin Murick. So I'm going to give you a bit of time to work this out, Joe, but how many countries do you think have been represented by BUCS Super Rugby players since the inception of the league?
I mean, you're gonna have to give me this time to do it on commentary later.
Okay.
Otherwise, it would be a dead bit of time on camera. But I think that the message is the players who are emerging from the league and where they're getting to and where they can get to. I mean, the back pages are dominated by Alex Dombrandt at the moment, who obviously captained Cardiff Met in a final against Hartpury a number of years ago. Sam Skinner has played. Oh, he's won the European Cup, he's won the Premiership Cap for Scotland. So it is a legitimate pathway, and it's not just like, oh, one or two are getting through. There is a raft of players coming through. You don't even have to wait until you graduate now before you're getting recognised internationally.
Right, I'm going to give you a clue. You can't count it on just your fingers. You're going to have to take at least one of your shoes off and use your toes as well. Joe has got some maths to do, and then he's got to get to the commentary position. He'll be joined by Will Crane for the match today, but now it is time to catch up with the new man in charge here at Hartpury, Dan Murphy. We're 2 games into the season. You've won one and you've lost one. How would you sum up the team and the performances so far?
Yeah, I said it at the media day. This league, anyone can beat anyone on their day, and that's kind of what's happened for us. We've won one, we've lost one. For us, it's about being consistent now. It's easy to get a reaction after one game, but for this week now, it's right. Let's push on. Let's get another W.
So what have been the work-ons from last week then? Everyone's sort of slowly easing their way into the season, but strange as it sounds, there's always an expectation on Hartpury, especially when it comes to the end of the season. So how are you going to build into, well, the business end, if you like?
Yeah, it's everyone raises their game 5-10% against Hartpury. Everyone likes to take that scalp, which is great. We need to do that as well. We need to be on our game, and like I said before about that being consistent performers, that's what we're striving to be here.
So Leeds Beckett, looking at their side, there are some familiar names for BUCS Super Rugby fans, for Hartpury. It's almost like a Ferris wheel of talent that just keeps churning out brilliant players. How do you sort of instill the Hartpury way in those new faces?
Like you say, there is a factory, if you would say, of players coming through Hartpury, and they're very good at self-policing that, and it's each year it's a 3-year journey for them. Each year, teach the year below, they earn their stripes, teach the year below, and by the time we get them in that first team, they're the almost polished article.
And in terms of your role, you've come in, taken over from Linny, who's still a massive part of the family here at Hartpury, but he had tremendous success. But is this team now more about putting your identity on it, or just continuing in that Hartpury blueprint?
Hey, Hartpury have a blueprint, and I'd like to continue that. I'd like to have a few twists on there, put my own thing on it, but continue what's been going for the last 10 years. And add a little bit more.
And finally then, Leeds Beckett arrived here this evening, played 2, 1-2, bonus point victories in both. What are you expecting from them tonight?
Yeah, we've played Leeds a lot, played them in the last final, and we know what their game plan is, how they play, and it's, if you handle it, you're in the game, you're in with a shout, and that's what we're aiming to do tonight.
Very much looking forward to this evening. Good luck.
Perfect, thank you.
Cheers. Lots to look forward to this evening, but one disappointing thing was the unfortunate cancellation of the Women's National League game. We were going to put the cameras on Hartpury versus Northumbria, but they had a shortage of front row forwards. So Sophie, you had the day off. Or did you have the day off? Did Mo put you to task?
Yeah, so we got in some analysis, getting ready for next week, and then we just had an afternoon session, just getting the girls back in, just topping up that fitness, bit of handling, bit of skills, and just a bit of fun as well.
Disappointed not to play, or happy to have a week off?
Disappointing not to play. You know, we've waited so long for for this season to come around, and obviously real disappointment, especially going into this week. The girls are really excited to show everyone what we're about, but we'll hold it till next week and come out running.
It's a good speaking captain, isn't it?
Yeah, that's why she's picked.
What about from a coaching perspective, Mo? You were defeated last week against Loughborough. Fantastic game. Unfortunately, you didn't get the result. From a playing perspective, you just want to get out there. But what about from a coach's?
Oh yeah, gutted. Like, you're only as good as your last game, aren't you? And the girls, they've spent all week. We've rectified so much of the stuff that we put in place and that we thought that we needed to work on going into this game. So it's just gutting that the girls don't get to run out. Like, not only that, but on the first team pitch, under the lights, we've got a pizza van. Like, everyone's coming down in force. So yeah, it's a real shame for the girls, but I feel that as well.
Well, we did have a really good chat last week, and one of the things that I picked up on, and I'd like to get both of your thoughts on this, was the ambition of this team, and it seems to be something that's reflected throughout the league. You got to the final last time. You weren't able to play and have the opportunity to win that trophy, which is something that Hartpury do so well. Has that result last week affected the ambition, or are you still here to do a job and to get all the way to the top?
No, not at all. Like, we keep talking about it, but we need to peak for the end of the season. We need to peak for when the quarterfinals and semi-finals are. So this year it's all about making sure that we're in the best place, making sure we improve every time we take the field, every time we play, every time we train, and we keep building the whole way through the year. And we've got a brilliant group of girls. Like, they're absolutely class. Their willingness to work, their willingness to come and improve week on week is fantastic. So no, it's not changed at all.
Sophie?
Yeah, exactly the same. It's all about building blocks. A lot of new girls, which is really, really nice to see. And yeah, we'll get there, and the girls aren't disheartened at all by last week. We've done what we need to do in training and our analysis, and we're ready to go again. But yeah, the drive is still there for the end of the season. I'm really excited.
Talk to me about the Heartpury way, because every time I arrive here, we come through there and there's that trophy room with literally the trophies and the undefeated season that the men had a few years ago. BUCS Super Rugby champions. I see college games, I see sevens all the way up to the championship. In the Premier 15s, you're always going great guns. What's it like to sort of have that expectation as a Heartpury player that every time you step out there, success is the minimum expectation?
It's great. You can thrive under that completely, and Heartpury's such a family. Like, you have every other team coming to watch your game, and then you do the same with everyone else, which is fantastic to get into. And for the girls especially, we've got from college right through to the Premiership, so we've got role models all around, which is outstanding. And yeah, the girls love it, and I just love being at Hartpury. It's such a great place to be, and the atmosphere, especially tonight, will be unreal.
It does. It just wraps you up, doesn't it, Hartpury? And Mo, of course, you've been doing it in the Premier 15s, obviously in the England jersey as well. Now you are head coach. This is your responsibility.
Yeah, I know. I feel a lot of pressure with it, to be honest, especially obviously last week coming off that. But it's just a privilege, like, to be here, to be surrounded by such great people, not only the girls but the coaches that I work with. Obviously, you've just spoken to Dan Murphy. He's an absolutely class guy. Like, also coaches across Gloucester Hartpury. So everything here is just so linked in, and it's just a brilliant place to be. It's somewhere, like you say, the players thrive, but also like the staff can thrive as well, and it's just an awesome place to be.
And despite the cancellation today, there are going to be opportunities on a Wednesday for players to impress and maybe get in the mix with that Gloucester Hartpury side.
Oh, 100%. So Sean Lynn, who obviously is head coach of Gloucester Hartpury, he actually trains the girls on a Friday with myself and Beth Ann Lewis, the forwards coach. He's doing it on Monday as well, so he's got eyes on. He comes to all of our away games. There's eyes on the whole time for the girls, and people that are standing up are already having conversations about the Premier Cup that's coming up in a few weeks. So yeah, we're really it's really fluid, the whole squad is, and from the ACE programme all the way up to the university and feeding into Gloucester Hartpury is pretty aligned. So yeah, we're in a very lucky place, really.
Now, I hate doing this, but I'm going to do it anyway. Prediction for this evening's game in BUCS Super Rugby?
Hartpury all the way.
Bonus point win?
Yeah, go on.
and Mo?
Yeah, I think we've got to back our boys, haven't we? Especially when the drum's coming out in full force, and you'll see the atmosphere in the crowd. But yeah, looking forward to seeing them go.
Well, thank you very much for having a chat. Good luck for the rest of the season. They've spoken about Sean Lynn as well. I'll be catching up with him at half time. But let's have a look now at the Hartpury men's team and how they've prepared for the season.
Tom Brooker, play for Hartpury, and back row.
Dan Murphy, Hartpury University.
Moments where you're together with the lads, and it means something more than just what we've done today. It goes back to what we've done pre-season, hard sessions together, that kind of stuff.
last year was tough because that unknown, are we going to start, are we not? And we managed to get some fixtures, and boys are just hungry for some sport. I'm sure, like everyone is, just hungry for some competitive sport, back to playing in places like this with full crowds again, just back to that BUCS Super Rugby feeling. It'd be nice to have that feel back, that match day, game day intensity, that buzz.
Solomon twins, front row, I think they're ones to watch. Isaac Marsh, he's a good little player. Josh Harrison as well, fullback, potentially wing. Good feet.
Everyone raises their game a little bit when they play Hartpury, which is great. For us, we've got to be on the top of our game week in, week out, and it's keeping that consistency there. And that's the strength of the league as well. It's really competitive, 10 sides that really go at it, and it's a great competition. Dream, nurture, achieve.
Kerry, 2 bonus point wins, plenty of tries at both ends of the pitch. You are the league's great entertainers at the moment.
Loads of catch and drive tries, couple of scrum tries. Yeah, we're league entertainers, if you want to call us that. It's all good. Yeah.
But you arrive here with a team. One of the things that really struck me was how relaxed everybody looks. They seem to be in a great place and really enjoying their rugby at Leeds Beckett at the moment.
Yeah, I'd say that. I'd probably say that for all universities, wouldn't you? You know, we're all back in the swing of things, back into university time, back into lectures, back into routine. So, you know, the boys are relaxed. You know, we've got a pretty tight schedule where they get given a good schedule and they know where they are every day. And so, yeah, we're relaxed and, you know, we're prepped for this game. We're excited for this game. We want to improve in this game. So, yeah, things are good.
Well, you talk about the improvements then. You've scored 38 points against Swansea, 53 against Bath. Where are the improvements?
Defensively, me looking after a little bit of the defence, I like to think that we leaked a few many tries in. Just general skill set. We probably need to improve our skill set as well. But yeah, we're happy, but we're not, you know, but there's always things we can work on, you know.
A few familiar faces in the Leeds Beckett team today, but some new lads as well. How have the new boys settled in, and how impressed have you been with the squad as a whole?
Yeah, really well. There is some new boys in, and some old boys that are doing masters and stuff like that, which we're lucky with. But there's also, as you said, some new guys that have come through the pathway, and they're getting the opportunity to perform at this level. You know, they probably spent 2-3 years prior to that training against the first team on a Saturday morning, early Saturday mornings, and learning things. And so it's their time to shine. And certainly for the last couple of games, I've been impressed with those guys as well. You know, so.
Hartpury today, away. You've had some cracking games against them over the years. Some you've come out on the right side, some on the wrong side. What are you expecting this evening from the opponents?
Oh, like always, just a physical game, hard game. They're a big pack, you know. They like to run hard and they've got a good structure. You know what I mean? They're well coached, so you know it's going to be a tough old game. You know, like any game in BUCS Super Rugby. You know, 60-minute mark. You know, a couple of decisions here and there from the referee and players, and then that's the win. So tough one.
I think, like everyone, I'm really looking forward to this one tonight. Good luck.
Cheers, buddy. Thanks, thank you.
Kerry Wood, a man who likes to keep his cards close to his chest, but he has to reveal the 15-man hand that he's going to play tonight against the reigning BUCS Super Rugby champions. And there are plenty of aces up his sleeve. Gareth Stevens, yellow card last week against Swansea, but don't let that fool you. He's not a man of mischief. He's a man of real class in the centre, and he will be guided through the game by Toomey and Cope in the half-back role. Plenty of forward power to jettison them into positions to see those backs shine. Here are the Hartpury 15, and the game is underway with Leeds Beckett kicking us off in their change strip of white against Hartpury in black, cheered on by a raucous home crowd. That's what happens when the 2s, 3s and 5s all play at home on a BUCS Super Wednesday. And it is Hartpury attacking with verve early in the exchanges, in the hands of one of the men to watch, John Boy Solomon. Dynamic, powerful, destructive ball-carrying prop. That's going to be a name we'll be saying with regularity out here tonight. Gives me a good opportunity to bring in Will Crane, who's my co-commentator this evening, the last man to hoist the BUCS Super Rugby trophy as captain of Hartpury. Goodness me, when was it? Back in 2019. But a man well placed to give his opinion on the goings on tonight.
Good evening, thank you very much for having me.
So first dominance to Hartpury. They muscle out Leeds Beckett on the near touchline we have here. And these games have always been something of a titanic tussle. We mentioned Hartpury defeating Leeds Beckett back in 2019 in that brutal final. And if you're to believe the history books tonight, this one is Hartpury's. They've won all but 2 of the encounters against Leeds Beckett, and they're firing through the middle early, finding the seams in the Leeds Beckett defence. More purchase down the right flank. Beckett defence being stretched before Solomon gets himself back into the game. His twin brother on the other side of the scrum at loose head. Hartpury seek options outside. They continue to keep it tight. Good continuity and an opportunity. Dancing feet from Ollie Holiday. But Leeds Beckett, mighty in defence. And first at the breakdown, penalty to Beckett. But an opportunity to see what Hartpury can do with the ball in hand.
Very good start for both teams there, both in attack and defence. Hartpury getting through the phase nicely, but Leeds just batting them off whatever they can. Great turnover in the 22 and a lovely kick to relieve some pressure.
Well, Hartpury have won 6 of the 8 regular season encounters in BUCS Super Rugby history. Those 2 Leeds Beckett victories have come here at the Al Pass. And one of the key line-out options for Beckett, John Okafor, who fumbles from the throw-in, was player of the match last time Leeds Beckett triumphed here. But an early error from their talismanic second row. And our first chance to see the 16-man shove as we go to the scrum.
Best part of rugby.
For those of you unfamiliar with the career of Will Crane, he is a hooker, which will explain his last remarks, but certainly a battleground that both sides will want to make their impression felt early. Oscar Lennon puts in for the home side, an 8-9 pick. Huge hit to shudder the Hartpury runner and stop him in his tracks. Knocked on in the tackle as well. Big defensive shot. And Leeds Beckett this time with the put-in.
Very good first scrum there from both teams. I reckon there's going to be a massive part of the set-piece battle today. Will probably decide the game. If we can get a foothold in that, eke the penalties, get the field possession, we'll probably end up victors. So looking forward to it.
Well, you said to me before we went on air that the first 10 minutes is going to be key in this game in terms of exerting each team's physicality.
Yeah, so just first 10 minutes of a game, you're almost finding out what each other's about. So if you can get those early shots in, get those good carries in, almost get yourself into a game. And then the challenge is staying there, not letting the other team get back, but it should be good. Besides some of these Leeds Beckett boys, I wouldn't want to tackle them. They are massive.
Breeze blocks of men, the Leeds Beckett pack. And a fair bit of brotherly love going on in the match tonight. Totti and John Boy Solomon packing down at 1 and 3 for Hartpury. While in the Leeds Beckett pack, Jordan Brown in the second row partners his brother Nick Brown at number 8. And Connor Hancock, the current loose head, has his brother, his other twin brother, Callum Hancock, to welcome on the tight head later on in the game. Very rare.
That's nice, that
you'll find 2 sets of twin brothers opposing each other in a top level game. And here Beckett will have their chance with the ball in hand and looking slippery in the outside channels in Stevens' hands. Dragged down initially on the 22 and scampers across for a few extra meters. Beckett with fluency, with momentum, but met mightily through a double hit on the threshold of the 22. They're playing with penalty advantage and they're playing through their big men. Play being dictated by Toomey, who slips it over the top. They're using the advantage to create havoc in the backfield, but well marshalled in the end by Sam Allen. And Leeds Beckett looking liquid whilst throwing the ball around through their backs. So decision time for Ollie Toomey, a man with the golden boots at the moment in BUCS Super Rugby. 24 points for the diminutive playmaker and 100% last week in their win over Swansea. He has the opportunity to score the first points of the game. And true to type, splits the posts, and Leeds Beckett take the initiative on the scoreboard. They lead Hartpury 3-0. Will, your thoughts on the opening 7 minutes? Quite a lot of action for that 7.
Yeah, some good stuff. Both teams settling into the set piece. Some nice attacking phase from both sides. Certainly that Leeds break down the edge there and a good bit of continuity in the 22. A nice 3 points set them in. So hopefully we've got more in store.
Well, Hartpury ask Beckett to exit from deep in their 22, and they go straight to the boot and chew off a big chunk of the touchline. But it will be Hartpury possession and their first line out of the game. Pressure on young Will Goffey in front of a raucous home crowd at the Al Pass. These are the nights that BUCS Super Rugby is made for, and it's won by Cameron Cobbett. Here come Hartpury, a low pass, scooped up off the bootstraps. Sam Allen swatted in the tackle. And the counter-rucking good from Beckett, but knocked on in the process. Real strong stuff from Gareth Stevens, who we saw break wide moments ago. He's known for his silky play, but a bit of muscle and grit in the counter-ruck right there.
Back three's worst nightmare in a ruck, isn't it?
Very much the modern player. Very much the modern player. But it's last scrum, very messy. Hopefully this one, a true tale of who fancies it here tonight at the Al Pass. And you can tell by the reaction of the men in white, it's Leeds Beckett who milled the Hartpury scrum on their own put-in, and that's a huge psychological blow to strike early.
That's a big moment in the game, but also the referee's mind. He'll be thinking next time we have a scrum, Leeds got the ascendancy, so Hartpury need to find something there.
That picture that you paint to the referee really is so important around the scrum, around the breakdown, kind of in all aspects of the game.
Yeah, massive, massive. The interpretation of the referee changed weeks on weeks, not massively, but enough for you to adapt your game.
Well, Madison Hunting goes to Okafor, who again juggles and spills forward.
Great carry by John.
So John Solomon, prominent in the opening exchanges in the loose. Not much time to shine in the scrum. Errant passing, forcing Hartpury back. They do have numbers left. But Joe Howard uses his championship experience to put the head down before Lennon sends a bomb into the night sky. Well, expertly fielded and positioned by Ollie Toomey. He calls the mark, just takes the sting out of Hartpury's attack. And it does feel like Leeds Beckett are the ones in slightly more control so far. Well, referee Harry Warbaum, who's a man you know well, Craney.
Yeah, we grew up on the same street.
Not happy with something, but all good for Hartpury because Goffey finds his man again, but again, the pass goes awry. Hartpury at the moment living off scraps designed by their own inaccuracies. And were it not for an offside infringement from the line out, they would have been backpedaling again.
It's a nice little area of the game, Hartpury to get a foothold in. A few good line-outs. Well, Goffey found his range, so hopefully it's a nice area for them to get some field possession.
Well, he's got the twin towers of Danny Eye and Cameron Cobbett to aim for. Danny Eye, 18 years old, 6'5".
Big boy.
And climbing highest on that occasion was Cam Cobbett. A back row comes second row. So very mobile around the park.
Both have come through the under-18 setup here at Hartpury as well, so nice to see them progressing it onto BUCS ones.
Well, Hartpury finding a little bit more fluency and finding Tom Brooker scampering in the wide channels. He's a big man to stop, and it takes 2 Beckett jerseys. Big tackles raining in from Leeds Beckett on the Hartpury runners. The Solomon boys flanking the ball receiver. And Lennon really dictating and marshalling, but it's a spill from Isaac Marsh. And another defensive win for Leeds Beckett. They've had an answer for everything that Hartpury have thrown at them so far.
They're looking comfy in defence today. Very good.
Well, you can sympathise with Isaac Marsh that when big John Okafor is in your peripheral vision and you're stooping low to pick one off your bootstraps, you might just have one eye on the contact before the ball is cleanly in your hands. So Totti and John Solomon and Will Goffey under pressure early on the scrum scene in this game.
Much better scrum from Hartpury there.
But that's solid. Well, the pressure from Hartpury forces Ollie Toomey into the most modest of touches from what seemed to be a secure platform for Leeds Beckett. And while the Leeds Beckett defences look comfortable, Hartpury have got a concerted period of pressure here. But John Okafor
straight through on that. That's very good defence on the ball.
Right over like an octopus, just seatbelting the ball onto the torso of the Hartpury jumper. And it was inevitable, the ball going to floor and Leeds Beckett with the scrum, the maul held up. Well, as you said, Craney, the upfront tussle is where it's at in the opening exchanges of this match. And at the moment, it's tooth and nail from both sides.
Yeah, both have got a good foothold in the game. Line-up going well for Hartpury, but then scrum and defence are going well for Leeds Beckett. So it's who's going to crack first.
Well, Beckett would far rather be playing their rugby in the Hartpury Harp at the moment. They're not being allowed to escape. Toomey goes cross-field to ask questions of Hartpury's back three jumpers. They do so well despite the chase pressure. And once again, Hartpury will launch an attack and they'll find a seam through John Solomon. So good in the loose. But a knock-on at the crucial moment from Scott Davies. Lets Beckett off the hook again. And an uncharacteristically error-strewn opening period from Hartpury. A lot of inaccuracy.
Yeah, just forcing that extra pass there like that. That was a lovely line break from Hartpury. That 7 just needed to hold on to the ball a little bit long. So Scott Davies need to hold on to the ball just a little bit longer, let the support get there and see if they can recycle it again.
Well, if, like Will Crane, you think scrums are the best part of the game, then we've served up a feast in these opening salvos here at the Al Pass. 15 minutes and almost as many scrums. But it's symptomatic of how hard Hartpury are making Beckett work to get out of their 22. And it's the same story from Toomey again, under immense pressure from the chaser. Can only find a touch on the 22, and Hartpury again have a launch pad. Well, the pause in play here is for an injury to Leeds Beckett's number 4, John Okafor. They will be desperate for that man to get back up and into play. 4 tries in the opening 2 matches. A deuce against Bath and Swansea. And one of their most experienced members in the side, currently studying for a Masters. He's been to a BUCS Super Rugby final, as is Toby Francis, playing 6. James Gulliver, the captain, he's played his fair share of BUCS Super Rugby matches, but Okafor is really one of the talismen. And you don't want to lose a player with this experience so early.
No, certainly not. Massive part for the Leeds team. Has been for a few years. So they'll definitely want him back up on his feet and in the game.
Just to put into perspective quite how big John Okafor is, you're playing professional rugby, Will, in the championship for Hartpury RFC, captaining them. And when Beckett came out to warm up, you just looked at the pitch and you played against him. You said, oh my God, Okafor is bigger. Massive.
He's got bigger. He was huge in BUCS when we played against him, and even bigger now. So fair play to him.
Well, the injury to Okafor may well be heralding the arrival of a man who's no less smaller, called Pietro Torrisi. We'll see if Pietro Torrisi is coming on. We're hearing from the Leeds Beckett bench that it is a head injury. So he'll be coming off regardless to be assessed. Whether it's a permanent replacement, we're yet to find out. Well, I spoke too soon because it looks like John Okafor is going to continue. No fear of concussion, just a flesh wound, as they say in action movies. And we're right back into the action.
Another good line out from Will Goffey there.
With Hartpury on the charge, and Hartpury looking coordinated. Just a big red and black swamp beginning to splinter the Leeds Beckett rear guard.
Could go.
Swirling its way to the line. Definitely a Leeds Beckett body in at the bottom, trying to tangle the legs, but they can't be stopped. And Hartpury have the opening score at the Al Pass. One man will come up with the ball, but there's no doubt about it. That's a try for all 8 forwards.
I started on the 22, I think. Hell of them all.
Well, Leeds Beckett did their absolute best to try and halt that legally and illegally, but great coordination, great organisation and power from Hartpury. Ultimately unstoppable.
I think Will Goffey pulled up with that at the end, so well deserved for some very good line-outs through the opening 20 minutes.
Make that 5 a 7 for Hartpury University. Supreme from the tee, Joe Winfield maximises the driving try from Will Goffey. And it is Hartpury leading Leeds Beckett 7 points to 3. And just reward for a period of concerted pressure down in the Leeds Beckett half.
Yeah, they've been plugging away there for about 5-6 minutes, making it hard for Leeds to exit. So line out going well, and Maul matching it. So well done, Hartpury. Challenge is now to exit well and get the pressure back on Leeds.
Pressure from Beckett on the charge down. It's a foot race. And Lennon, his only option is to boot it out over the dead ball line, with one of the Leeds Beckett chasers bearing down. Let's take a look here. Lennon boxes off both feet, and it was Okafor throwing his body at the ball before Hancock set chase. But the danger is certainly
big scrum now.
Still looming on Hartpury's doorstep. The scrum has been Leeds Beckett's playground so far in this match, and they'll look to turn the screw, and they're marching forward. Hartpury in reverse, Beckett with the penalty advantage. And eventually awarded by Harry Warbaum. And I'd imagine we're going to see the same option taken.
I would think so.
How much of a worry is this for Hartpury?
This sort of area, referee might have a picture in his head now. If this, depending on how this scrum goes, massive scrum for both teams.
So Leeds Beckett have carved out a chance to reply almost immediately. It was the charge down of Okafor. And he's now in the engine room with Jordan Brown looking to march the Black 8 of Hartpury across the line. They put up more resistance, but Beckett break down the short side. And have they knocked on in the process of trying to score? Desperate scramble defence from Hartpury, and they've escaped. Well, this is the shot.
Much better scrum from both teams. Oh, that's unlucky.
Well, James Gulliver out the back door, ricocheting off the face of Spencer Cope, and he almost gathered it, but the hit coming in at the crucial time to dislodge it. A let off for Hartpury in that moment, but still under immense pressure in the scrum.
Good shot again.
Well, that's well dealt with. Great scrum and a great carry from Matthew McNabb. Leeds Beckett are fighting. They're not giving this away easily. But they give away a penalty, and that is going to infuriate all 15 men on the field, not to mention Kerry Wood, the Leeds Beckett coach. They had Hartpury pinned in the corner, and a penalty is the ideal exit platform for Hartpury.
That's a killer if you're defending. You got that period of pressure. That's a great kick by Joe Winfield. You're going to get the ball back if they exit. You shouldn't be giving anyway silly penalties in the 22. Just an easy out for Hartpury just to relieve the pressure.
Well, a meaty touch finder as well rubs salt into the wound of Leeds Beckett, and they're marched all the way back beyond the halfway line, back in their half, where much of this first half has unfolded. That's why Hartpury lead.
Some great carries early doors by Joe Howard in some heavy traffic.
Very, very busy. The man who's featured a number of times in the championship for Hartpury RFC. And Hartpury are finding their fluency more and more with Isaac Marsh, last week's player of the match, about to score a screamer if he can hold on.
Again, just that final pass that needs to be held. Great build-up play, lovely break by Isaac, but just hold on to that ball. Hartpury got 4 or 5 players around him, recycle it, easy try in the corner.
2 big bangs off the right foot. And it was desperation defence coming in from Alex Green. Isaac Marsh lighting up the Alpass momentarily, and it's given a bit more fuel into the voice boxes of the chanting Hartpury ultras who are on our side of the field.
Well lubricated.
Very well lubricated. Some very, very slippery esophaguses after home wins for other parts of the club. Today for Hartpury Uni. And this is territory that Leeds Beckett will not have found themselves in so far. A defensive scrum on their put-in changes the complexion of things when you're not all that far away from your line. And while they have been dominant, Hartpury have the nudge, and it forces an early pick from Leeds Beckett. Excellent carry. Chewing off the meters for Nick Brown. Really vital meters, in fact. The Hartpury defence is hungry. An awkward box from Spencer Cope. Wow.
Great exit, great kick.
Perfectly judged. Bouncing inches over the touchline. Nothing that Ollie Holiday could do. But definitely there has been a momentum swing in favour of the home side.
Yeah, they found their way into the game nicely. Some good defensive sets, some great attacking sets. Line out going well. Very much into it.
Well, Will Goffey finds Danny Ite before Hartpury find green pastures in the Leeds Beckett backfield. All the tricks coming out of the bag as Matthew McNabb wrestles and gyrates his way closer to the line. What can Hartpury do with the numbers? Find the try line, that's what they do.
Well done, Matt McNabb. As I was saying earlier, just that final pass needs to be held, recycled it well. Leeds Beckett scrambling their way in the corner. Great try, well done Hartpury.
Well, the ingenuity to put the kick over the rush defence of Leeds Beckett. It was Matthew McNabb who gobbled it up, but then continued to fight for the yards. And then coaches will call that simple execution, but it's not that simple when you've got a big home crowd and you know what's at stake.
No, certainly not. It's always a good crowd here at Hartpury. You always hear them very vocal. Very well finished in the corner.
Get in the hole, the cry from the Hartpury faithful, and Joe Winfield duly obliges. A carbon copy of a tough conversion he landed earlier from Will Goffey's try. Brandon Wood has added to the try tally, and it's Hartpury looking good now in this first half. Just under half an hour played. And Leeds Beckett need to re-find their feet in this match. First time we've seen them in possession for a while. Well, a gaping hole is found in the midfield. Okafor has room to gallop, and he continues to fly over the try line in spectacular form. And that is just the riposte that Leeds Beckett needed.
Great reply, great line, great support, held his feet well, and very nice swan dive, I must add.
Well, it was the break from Rhys Charalambos, and then Okafor, once he got those legs pumping, the strides got larger and larger. Tell you what, gets a bit of hang time on a dive, doesn't he?
Good, that's a good dive, that. Groundsman will be repairing a divot.
The simplest of conversions added by Ollie Toomey, and Leeds Beckett are right back in it. Hartpury 14, Leeds Beckett 10. Half an hour played, and Hartpury may well be disappointed with that defence in their midfield. Well, just looking at the frame of Okafor there with Brandon Wood, who was chasing back and not really doing much to conceal him despite the perspective. And Leeds Beckett have a spring in their step now, and they're beginning to try different tacks to break down the Hartpury defence. Gareth Stevens losing his footing on the chip, and Hartpury in command. Slightly messy passage gives us a scrum. A battleground that's really yo-yoed, to be honest, in the match, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. It's almost like Hartpury switched off for a couple of scrums. You can see on the shot, if you see the shot, you can almost see a movement of men on the initial engagement.
Who's winning that shot?
I was just about to watch that scrum there. So Leeds have won a couple there, but then the neutral ones is when we've seen the ball played away. So a big emphasis on the scrum here is win the shot, win the body height, keep your feet in the ground, and normally you're onto a winner. But these front row boys from Leeds and Hartpury are earning their beer tokens tonight.
Well, they're two front rows who, it's safe to say, enjoy a portion of scrum pie. I was informed before the game by Colin Stevens, the director of rugby for Leeds Beckett, that Rhys Charalambos said at the first session of pre-season, "Are we scrummaging today?"
That's a rugby pig, that is.
Well, he's the one who's being patted on the back of the head, and he's the one who made the break to set up Okafor for the comeback try. So offering more than just scrumming, as a very impressively acrobatic bit of play from Hartpury. Stops the penalty from going out for the Leeds Beckett line-out, but they will attack from deep. Alex Green, who switched numbers with Jake Morris, wearing 14, is stopped. But Leeds Beckett look good when they put some air on the ball. They're seeking the wide channels. And Beckett also finding purchase round the fringes. A bit of softness there from Hartpury. They get away with it with the offload going forward. But definitely this is a game of momentum swings, isn't it?
Massively, yeah, massively. I'm all for letting the boys play, but some of these offloads, 50-50s, I reckon in these tight games, just hold on to them, build your way into a game, and then when it opens up a bit, try the out the back door. One bloke who had a shocker against Leeds, I remember back in the uni days, is a bit of nostalgia. Max Clem, 3-on-1 breakaway, easy as you like, just pass the ball, no, bottles it. We miss the try, they go back and score, I think.
I'm sure your good friend Max Clemenson will be delighted that you've raised that anecdote on the live stream tonight. And, well, you would have thought that the Leeds Beckett scrum coach would have been delighted and a penalty coming, but Hartpury miraculously dig the ball from the bottom with the scrum in full-scale retreat, and they go on the attack. Lennon to Solomon, that combination working very, very regularly in this first half. He goes for a crawl. And Hartpury, an attack through the centres, both sides. Just finding shards of light in the centre defences. And Hartpury will be very, very happy with that penalty outcome.
Yeah, very well done. Getting a foothold back in the game now, a bit of multi-phase. Don't mind a little bit of gamesmanship, but I think that was right in front of Harry's eyes, so he couldn't ignore it.
So 5 minutes remaining. Real entertaining first half. No one truly grabbing the game by the scruff of the neck. It looked like it was going to be Hartpury, but that quick-fire reply from John Okafor has raised the question mark as to who will be happier going in at half-time, but there still is 4.5 minutes to change that half-time huddle discussion. And Hartpury are in precisely the same formation with which they opened the try scoring in this first half. Will Goffey was the one at the back in the armchair, directing his pack ahead of him as they burst through the Leeds Beckett defence. But Beckett do better this time. They get the ball to ground though, Hartpury, and they'll have a chance to strike through the centres. Deft hands from Isaac Marsh. Still Hartpury press, but picked off in the air on the overlap. Well recovered by Brandon Wood.
Great recovery.
Hartpury doing so well to get men back despite the intercept.
Oh, that is a great defensive set.
But having taken it into contact, it was the white jerseys of Beckett flooding through. And a really timely penalty for the men in white. And an interesting quandary as to what they might do with it with just over 3.5 minutes remaining of the half.
Oh, he's missed touch again. That is a brilliant kick. Well done, Brandon Wood.
Wow. Hugely disheartening.
That's almost a 50-22, fair play.
For Leeds Beckett. Ollie Toomey missing his second touch in a row from a penalty, and compounded by the fact that Brandon Wood has chewed off, what would you say?
80 metres? I reckon he was on his try line there.
70 to 80 metres with the clearance. As you said, almost a 50-22 from his own 5-metre line. And the Leeds Beckett line out, which hasn't been running too hot, finds their jumper nicely and in the nick of time as well.
Oh.
Spencer Cope.
Couple of unforced errors there for Leeds, giving Hartpury an opportunity in their territory again.
And the last minute and 20 seconds rather sums up this first half. For a moment we thought Leeds Beckett would be in the corner and driving to the line from a line out. But an error gives Hartpury the opportunity to go on one last strike with the clock ticking down from 2 minutes remaining. A third try would really raise the roof at a busy Alpas. Change the complexion of the team talks.
Oh, great carry.
Massive carry from Isaac Marsh. We saw him slide through a hole earlier in the half and create a bit of magic with 2 big bangs off his right foot, sidestepping and weaving. But this time, Just a glimpse of his brutality.
Great turnover again. Leeds are all over this breakdown.
Beckett breathed an audible sigh of relief from the bench, who are really, really close to our commentary position because they're in possession. There's 60 seconds, but they've given away a penalty. And this really is a quandary for Hartpury. Points or corner?
Corner. Get it in. Maul's been going well. Line-out was 100%. Line-out's been brilliant this first half for Hartpury. Get it in the corner. Get it rumbling. Give Will Goffey a pat on the head.
So approaching last play of this thoroughly absorbing first half, and it is Hartpury looking to repeat history through Will Goffey, but Leeds Beckett.
Good defence.
Have been a match to the attempted drive from Hartpury. It goes down, and that is a muted response from Leeds Beckett and the crowd here, but an incredibly important moment actually in this first half and the game.
A lot of shots fired from both teams this half, but nothing's fully landed. I mean, some good tries.
Clock in the reds, Leeds Beckett on their line, and rather sensibly. Ollie Toomey kicks it dead. Something his team would have liked him to have done a few more times from penalty wins, but at half-time here at the Alpas Arena, it is the home side Hartpury who are in the lead, but by a whisker in a seesaw encounter in round 3 of BUCS Super Rugby. So a bit of a ding-dong here down Gloucester way. And a glimpse of some of the holes that have been unearthed in the midfield through a variety of attacking threats. Seeing Hartpury's offload play there, but we've seen chips, we've seen big carries, and we've also seen the driving more. Yeah,
been very good for Hartpury this first half. The line-up's been firing. Great driving more. I think it was about 20 from the 22 metres, so one they're going to hopefully use and carry on in the second half. But Leeds have found a way to combat it toward the end of this half. 2 very good defensive maul sets.
Well, it was pure poetry, this try. If you're a driving maul fan, which I know you are, Will.
Best try of the game so far.
All the way from the 22. And this was Leeds Beckett's attempt to respond. They have had their moments, but as with Hartpury as well, handling errors have been a feature.
Yeah, Isaac Marsh been very, very good this first half. Some lovely breaks, silky skills, and running hard as well. Big man in the centres, him and McNabb, so they're going well.
Well, we saw him absolutely clatter someone in a direct carry, but that was his midfield partner Matthew McNabb who gathered a cute little chip over the top of the onrushing Leeds Beckett defence, and it was Brandon Wood who finished the try off. Leeds Beckett scrambling, but Hartpury with the smarts and the composure to put the right man across with the right pass.
Yeah, very good finish by Brandon Wood there. He's had actually a very good half, tidying up a lot of the back, some very good kicks to relieve pressure, and a well-deserved try in the corner.
But retribution was swift from Leeds Beckett. They really needed this try from John Okafor, set up by the rampaging Reece Charalambos in the midfield. Great carry, but also the draw and pass to a careering John Okafor, who took off en route to bringing Beckett back into this match. So, half-time at the Al Pass Arena, and it is Hartpury leading Leeds Beckett 14 points to 10. And Dave Rogers is touchline with a man who's a bit of a legend round these parts.
It would be remiss of us to come all the way down here to the Al Pass Arena and not talk to this man, still the only coach to get his hands on the BUCS Super Rugby trophy at Twickenham, Sean Lynn. Great to be in your house. Firstly, let's talk about the 40 minutes we've just seen. What a half of BUCS Super Rugby.
Yeah, it was great, you know, and I admire the way that both teams are coming out and playing rugby. I'm sure Carey and Colin will go in and not taking some of those chances and opportunities, especially with that scrum 5 metres out. But I totally agree, it's just end-to-end stuff.
Well, we've seen a hooker go over from close range. We've seen a fullback go in the corner. We've seen a tight head prop burst the line and put a second rower in. Yeah. It's business as normal for BUCS, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, you know, and what's really nice, I know Chris and Dan Murphy have been working a lot on that tight driving maul, and you can see that they've just gone for the tail end of the driving maul, and it's just that race, isn't it? Then race to the maul, and it seems Hartpury are winning at the moment. But I'm really impressed with Isaac Marsh, boss in that 12 slot, distributing. It comes out the back door, and then you've got the back three coming into the game. But no, it's good.
I want to talk about the present day, but I want to take a look into the past as well. You were the top dog at Hartpury at the inception of BUCS Super Rugby, and you've made some incredible memories. You've helped develop some amazing players who've had great careers both on and off the pitch. Do you miss it?
Yeah, I do. You know, and what's really nice, you look at my phone now, I've had Seb Negri messaging me, he's watching the game in Italy. That's what BUCS Super Rugby means to these players. And I was behind the sticks there talking to Harry Wilson, Angus South, and the boys just thrive, and they know what BUCS Super Rugby means to them in their rugby journey. So you probably ask the likes of Tom Laidlaw and them boys, they will admire what BUCS Super Rugby is about, because it's the Wednesday afternoon, it's the Wednesday nights, and then it's what you do living with your teammates and then going out on those Wednesday nights. It's something special.
Absolutely. Well, you've mentioned Angus and Harry there. I've heard from Jack Rouse this evening, and David Lakin, who was coach at Cardiff University. Kind of sticks with you, doesn't it? If you're watching BUCS Super Rugby for the first time, a very warm welcome to you. If you're already part of the family, a very warm welcome back to you as well. But let's bring it to the present day, because your job here at Hartpury has changed now. You're heading up the women's side with Gloucester Hartpury. Unfortunately, the Hartpury University match was cancelled today, but just talk to us about that relationship and the women's side of the game that's going on here at Hartpury.
Yeah, the women's game is growing. You know, you look at the Allianz Prem now, just Gloucester Hartpury coming into that. It's great for the sport that on Sunday we played against Wasps in the Coventry Building Society Arena, and I'm just wanted to mirror. So I feel personally that we need to bridge the gap, because Allianz Prem is going forward, and you know the BUCS now are bringing the BUCS Women National League and bridging that gap for that Allianz Prem, and I think it's a great spectacle for young girls who want to play rugby, go to university, play in a great league in the National League competition, which is a real good stepping stone going into that Allianz Premiership, and the likes with us having links then with Cheltenham Tigers, who's playing the Championship. It's just great for the game.
Well, we spoke to Mo Hunt before. She shouted you out, by the way. She's a huge fan. But how incredible to have somebody with her pedigree who's now heading up the university programme here at Hartpury.
Yeah, it is. You know, she's an absolute great role model. The energy she brings, and she's one for the future. You know, and not just playing, but her coaching, the experience she's had. She's great, and she's probably one of my 3 kids' role model. They absolutely adore her, which it just speaks wonders for her, but also it speaks wonders for our programme at Hartpury.
Well, if you are watching for the first time, we are doing double headers this year, so you'll have the opportunity to watch both Women's National League matches and the BUCS Super Rugby games. As I said, unfortunately today was cancelled, but front row injuries happen, don't they? It is just a part of the game. Let's talk about the Hartpury way then, because we are going up and down the country covering these games, and every team has their identity. What is the Hartpury way to you and to this group of players who are going to be taking the pitch again behind us in a few minutes?
I just think, it's you come here on a Wednesday afternoon all the way through to the Wednesday night. You have just got under 18s playing out here with the boys. We had two under 18 women's team go away to Coleg Gwent today and Llandudno College, and then you got another 4 teams. It's just, people call it the rugby factory. I totally agree with them. It's just giving opportunities to young individuals, come to study, play rugby with a real good passion, but the Hartpury family is what they all call it.
Well, I can hear some applause breaking out behind us, so the team will be back out very shortly. Linny, it's so good to have a chat. Enjoy the rest of the game. And prediction, are Puri going to hold on?
Yeah, I think they will. The brand of rugby that they're playing, they're moving Leeds about. We just need to make sure they play in the right areas, though.
Enjoy the rest of the evening. This man, Sean Lind, still the only... Well, we're going to have a new coach with their hands on the trophy this year. How do you feel about that?
Oh, good luck to them, and enjoy it. It's a great day out, and whoever gets it, you thoroughly deserve. It's a great league to be part of.
Well, from one Hartpury legend to another, Sean Lind's going to enjoy the second half, and Will Crane will talk you through the remainder of the match alongside Joe Burns.
Thank you.
A lot of pressure on you, Will Crane, after that performance from Sean Lynn at half-time.
Yeah, the king Sean Lynn, he loves it. My coach for 3 years at Hartpury, hell of a boy.
And doing wonderful things with the women's programme as well now.
Yeah, brilliant stuff with the women. You can see they're building year on year, game on game. They narrowly lost to the champions Harlequins today, which in a great match. So I'm sure those girls they'll do very well this year.
Well, reputations can be made in round 3, but it is legends that are made come the last game of the season. We're a long way off determining which 2 teams will be meeting us at Twickenham at the conclusion of this season, and equally a long way off determining who will be taking home the W in this one, because it's a tight affair between Hartpury and Leeds Beckett. 14-10 the half-time score. And we were just talking off air then, Craney, that no team has really taken a stranglehold of the game, and you use the expression, there haven't been compounded scores.
Yeah, so they haven't, not one team has scored back to back. So it's been a Leeds score, Hartpury score, Leeds score, Hartpury score. So no one's really separated that gap, which will be interesting to see how we get on in the second half now.
Which of the 2 sides do you think would be happier at the end of that half? Which do you think would be going in thinking, right, we're well placed to go and win this now?
I'm going to play a straight bat and say both teams are pretty happy. They, both good attacking sets, good both defensive sets. Set pieces on is looking good. So whoever starts this half, the better. I reckon we're in a good place.
When you've had a first half like that, when there's no team in true ascendancy and the score is as narrow as we have here, is the second half almost like a condensed game, as in that 40 is just one game and you're going in there with fresh eyes, you're exerting yourself for the first 10 minutes and then taking it from there?
Yeah, almost. You're almost playing the second half in chunks, so you see yourself after 5 minutes, after 10 minutes, after 15, and if you start the half well, you've got to keep that momentum, because like you say, 40 minutes is it's only half of rugby. It's a short amount of time for then one team to recover. So whoever starts best will hopefully come out on top.
And with your coach's hat on as under-18s coach for Hartpury these days, as well as captaining the championship side, what would be your one message for Hartpury and what would be your one message for Leeds Beckett in this half-time?
Hartpury, look after the ball in the 22. Leeds Beckett, no dull penalties.
No dull penalties. I can imagine being in the changing rooms with you, Craney.
That's pasty rubbing off on me, I think.
Very, very severe. Well, You can see there in black, Kerry Wood is beginning to make his way back over to the Leeds Beckett dugout. The Hartpury replacements are returning to their positions, and the tunnel is beginning to murmur with excitement and anticipation for the players to return. Of course, it's the replacements who come out to add a bit more length to the supporters' worm. First and foremost, Leeds Beckett now out. And a eerie silence descending on the Al Pass. I think everybody expecting the players to be out a bit sooner, but here come Leeds Beckett, trailing by 4. And definitely in with a chance of taking home another victory from the Al Pass Arena. They did it last time in 2018, the last time they defeated Hartpury. But 3 years with COVID, with other Hartpury wins, since they tasted triumph against the 3-time BUCS Super Rugby Cup champions. Hartpury are out on the field. The referee's following suit, and we're just about ready to get underway. We'll make you aware of any replacements that may have happened across the half-time period. And in fact, I can see one rather large, unmissable replacement. Number 18 for Harlequins, a shock of blonde hair to the left of the assistant who's running across your screen now. Cam Hollenstein, playing championship rugby for Hartpury last year. He's played for Richmond, and he is an archetypal prime piece of South African beef, isn't he?
He's a big old boy. Hell of a lad as well. Had a great time with Cammy last year in the championship setup. Believe it or not, he is a vegan.
Well, if anyone says that you can't put on size as a vegan, just look at Cam Hollenstein. As Hartpury get underway for a crucial 40 minutes. 4 points the deficit. Can Hartpury close out the win, or will Leeds Beckett fight back to steal victory at the only ground that they've beaten Hartpury at in their history? Well, they've given up possession cheaply, and Hartpury are already on the march on the outskirts of the 22. How good has Isaac Marsh looked so far in this match? Jinking, powerful.
He's been very industrious. We've been quite impressed with Isaac actually this first half.
Lot of variety to the attacking threats that he brings, but Hartpury cough it up. And Leeds take the sting out of these opening moments with the box long over the halfway line. Brief juggle from Brandon Wood, who impressed in the first half. He finds space in the back with a chip, but quick reactions from Beckett, actually.
Great turnover, Brooker.
Just as it looks like Hartpury would get a pounce on the ball. And after the turnover, it is a penalty to Beckett. No one looking to cherish possession too much in the opening moments of the second half.
Nah, they always love defending, don't they? Tell you what, if you were a fresher and you rocked up your BUCSSUPERRUGBY rugby game and you're playing against Big Cam, what are you thinking?
Thinking switch to football.
Yeah.
He is a man mountain right at the back of the line out there. Will he have an impact on the way that Hartpury defends the Leeds Beckett line out, which just has not sung so far this evening? Fumbles from jumpers, not straight throws. It's been an area of sore frustration. But as demonstrated by Hartpury opting for the line out here, the scrum, not Hartpury's playground, so it's give and take on the set piece front between these two.
Yeah, Leeds line-up looked really good in the warm-up, to be fair. I was having a quick watch of it. It looked really good, some good drills, some good throws, but it's just whether it's the pressure of the game, the fatigue, I'm not sure the calling. It's not hitting its mark so far in the game, but Hartpury's is, the more going well.
Well, the captain, Tom Brooker, climbs highest in the Hartpury skies and sets Hartpury on their way. A straightening of the line from Matthew McNabb, the Zimbabwean heir apparent to the hurtling style of centre play of Irv the Swerve Murick. Hartpury with a nice piece of possession here, again in the hands of McNabb. He throws out a big muscular fend. Judo thrown to the ground, but it was advantage played. And Hartpury with a chance to slot this one into the corner and reintroduce the driving maul.
He's gone posts.
Well, my assumption absolutely wrong there. with
Yeah,
Joe,
he's done you. He's done you.
With Joe Winfield plumping for the poles instead, and he has kicked supremely well so far tonight, not missing one shot. This kind of score accumulation just shows you how tight this match is.
Ooh, just a bit outside.
Well, the thud was pleasing and it came out of the sweet spot, but the radar just off. That one sliding to the right of the upright, and a let-off for Leeds Beckett. And a score update for you from elsewhere as well. Exeter beating Swansea handsomely earlier in the day, and currently it is Cardiff Met 32, Loughborough 23 down at Kincoid. 5 minutes left of that one. Kincoid, an absolutely brutal place to travel and play rugby at.
The old pots and pans is the most distracting thing. I was throwing a line out, and remember, and one bloke almost broke his pan round his head. It was very distracting, but yeah, tough place to go, good team to play.
Well, BUCS Super Rugby has almost become a fans arms race now, hasn't it? Because you go and play away and you get all the noise, all the heat from the crowd. So then next time you welcome a side, you want to raise that level. And, you know, think about the men and women you have here, the 1,000 that were at Loughborough last week, the inevitable ultras at Kincoid this evening. That there isn't anywhere nice to really go in BUCS Super Rugby, is there?
No. I always find it when you go to if you say the more intelligent universities, so like your Durhams and your Exeters, their chat is a lot more sophisticated and it cuts a little bit deeper, but...
I'm just impressed that you're able to understand it, Craney. I thought it might have been operating at IQ levels, just completely alien to you and water off a duck's back. Well, look, back to the action, back to the stuff that we all understand. And that is the ongoing battle at scrum time. Hartpury looked better that time, but it's Beckett who come away and flash right. They come back through one of their big forwards, James Gulliver, meeting resistance in the shape of 3 black jerseys. Into the counter ruck before Stevens gets dancing. It's looked really, really good when given the opportunity to shine in space. Something that Leeds Beckett will want to see more and more. But the defence from Hartpury forces Beckett onto the boot. And a messy piece of play presents an unusual opportunity for a dive from Gareth Stevens. But the dead ball line beats all the players. An extraordinary passage of hands, legs, and really miscued efforts to gather the ball.
Not really sure what happened there, to be fair.
Ends in the ball going dead. They talk about the awkwardness of the bounce of the ball. Stevens looked like agonising.
Fingertip stuff.
Well, full time at Kincoid, Cardiff Met have done it, and by a whisker, 32-30, the final score there. So Loughborough derailed at the home of the Archers. Something that's happened to many a fine team, and after their dramatic Cardiff Derby win last week, they back it up with a big victory against Loughborough, who looked back to their very best last week against Northumbria.
I bet that Cardiff derby is a hell of a night out.
Whew, spicy.
Yeah.
Spicy would be a conservative word to describe that. Decent bar take from both sets of fans, I'd imagine. Beckett. Mixed play up with an inside shift. Big pressure from the Hartpury defence, forces the tap on. Well regathered by Leeds Beckett, but they're a good 20 metres back from where they started. And they'll shape to box. No, they won't. They'll dummy and they'll go. Bit of ingenuity, sensing the Hartpury defence were rushing up, but they worked themselves down an alleyway with no support. And under the vociferous roars of the Hartpury bench and supporters, Harry Warbaum awards the penalty, and Leeds Beckett will be marched back deep into their half, with Joe Winfield seeking the corner again from the boot.
Super defensive set there from Hartpury. I've been quite impressed by Hartpury's number 7, Scott Davies. He's been quietly going about his business, tidying up a whole load of loose ends, you know, going about his stuff very, very well. So impressive 50 minutes from him.
Cagey from both sides so far in this second half. 10 minutes gone. And Hartpury revert back to the attacking manner which brought them their opening score. Leeds Beckett, though, they now have an answer, illegally so, in accordance with the arm of Harry Warbaum.
Getting some ascendancy now in the set piece now, Hartpury.
And the tee is coming on for a far easier attempt from Joe Winfield. Just looking to get some impetus back on the Hartpury side of the scoreboard. It's been a while since they last took points. And
yeah, just to settle some nerves, I reckon. It is, both teams have started brightly. Hartpury, you know, the brighter of the show in this second half. So they've had 2 opportunities. Now it'd be nice to get some 3 points on the board, and he does so.
No words required when we've got a view like that. Perfectly powered through the poles by Joe Winfield. The lead now 7 for the home side. Hartpury 17, Leeds Beckett 10. It's going to be an error or a moment of magic.
Craig's picking man of the match, so.
Well, Leeds Beckett try desperately to exert pressure and force an error from Stan Norman, but does so well, the winger, from the kickoff. And Hartpury have done everything but their box to forge the perfect exit. Big pressure on the Beckett fullback. Sam Allen spills. Hartpury pour through. Beckett in trouble. They do immensely well to regather their composure. Picked up off the floor unconventionally by Beckett. And again, all they can do is box clear. Henry McNabb is now on at scrum half, 21, the jersey he's wearing. 2 Beckett players going for this,
Great
and
kick.
the confusion leads to a late arrival on the scene of Sam Allen, the former Rotherham and Yorkshireman, knocking on in the process, and that is a big win from Hartpury.
Massive win, yeah, they stayed in the battle very well there. The kicking exchanges, Oscar Lennon, the man who can do it all, kick off both feet. Lovely kick, great chase by Brandon Wood again, forcing the error. Well done, Hartpury.
Well, Bath, meanwhile, up in the northeast, have teed up a very, very joyous fun bus for themselves on the way back down from the north. 41-17 winners at Kingston Park this evening. Hartpury still have not confirmed their win. 7 points they lead, and it's in the hands of the scorer, Brandon Wood. 2 hands on the ball, swerving, scything. Front foot momentum for Hartpury. Can they use it?
Big Joey Howard carrying well in traffic again.
Isaac Marsh offering himself as a second playmaker. Goffey. Bit of footwork this time.
Go on, tap it, Cam, go on.
Well, you would have thought it would be post, and post it is. And Hartpury very much a change of tact in the way that they're trying to harness points on the scoreboard.
Yeah, just this will be a 2-point gain, 2-score lead, sorry.
So there's that IQ thing again there, Craney. 7 + 3 = 10.
Yeah, that is a Hartpury education for you.
A 10-point lead opened up, and a 2-score game.
2-score game.
For Hartpury, and really reward for them coming off better in these kick exchanges that have typified this second half so far.
Yeah, it's almost another set piece now, your kick chase. We have a big focus on it within the RFC, and a lot of teams do in every league. So that kick chase, big, like the old adage, a kick is only as good as its chase, and Hartpury have been winning that battle so far.
Well, Toby Francis leaves the field, as does Reece Charalambos and Connor Hancock for Leeds Beckett. So fresh front row players, a new face in the back row, and a slightly larger mountain to climb for Beckett, trailing by 10. And one thing you can say is that Beckett are struggling with the high ball strategy that Hartpury are employing in this second half.
Yeah, very much so.
The line out purring again for Hartpury. Okafor comes to take out Lennon, look to be committed and well-timed. Speaking of well-timed, a hit comes in the midfield to stop Hartpury's progression. Hollenstein puts his head down to gain 5 more meters. Hartpury just enjoying a bit more consistency and continuity in their play, but Beckett fighting hard in those breakdowns. Hollenstein pivots before another high one goes into the Hartpury night sky.
Good chase.
Gathered by Allen, but on his knees, unable to spring off onto a counter-attack. And Beckett, all they can do is kick it back to Hartpury. Brandon Wood has looked assured all night. That's a bit too long. juggled initially by Beckett, but they do have possession. And in the hands of their danger man, Gareth Stevens, who threads one through. Excellent pick-up from Lennon. He's clattered by Stevens coming round from his blind spot. The pick-up was delightful.
That was a hell of a hit there from Stevens.
From Lennon, it was, wasn't it? But Lennon shakes it off. He's back at the base. And he's back controlling how Hartpury attack in this second half. Another spilt ball. Leeds Beckett just cannot defuse these bombs safely at the moment in Hartpury.
They might relieve a bit of pressure here inside the 22, yeah, get into touch. All the previous kicks have been very good, just in that little 5 metre zone before the 22, so the exit kick would have been long and on rather than off. Leaving Hartpury to kick back into that area, and back three are having a tough night at the minute under that high ball.
Well, you've played plenty of games under the lights here. What's it like when, I mean, it's a beautifully clear night here in Hartpury, but under the low lights as well, what's it like fielding a high ball?
Yeah, well, thankfully I haven't been under many. I'm more chasing them, but it is tough. Like you say, the lights are low here, and as soon as they go above them, it is very dark. So I do sympathise with them, but tough skill.
So Durham register another win in their BUCS Super Rugby ledger, 38-19 victors in Swansea this evening. Which means that most of the scores are in. We'll have a clear picture of the table after this one settled. 20 minutes remaining. And Leeds Beckett yet to really express themselves in this second half. They have been bombarded by aerial bombs from Hartpury, from all areas of the field.
Is this their first attacking set?
I think it is. And the line out for the first time in a long time finds its man, and we see Beckett try and give Hartpury a piece of their own driving maul medicine.
Oh, big Cammy.
A flagrant infringement means that Beckett play with advantage.
50p foot there.
The chip through was initially very good, but a very heavy touch from the big right foot of, I think that was Connor Orisanya, who's just come on. Difficult one to control when you've been sat on the bench for 60 minutes. But a brief glimpse of probably what Leeds Beckett would have liked to have done for the previous 60 minutes. Yeah. Take some clean line-out ball, build a maul, and chew up some turf on the way to the Hartpury line.
Yeah, they're always a big set-piece team, so I imagine they've quite frustrated their line that hasn't been firing this first half. Certainly what they can do with that maul there, so big challenge now for Hartpury to stop this maul in a dangerous position.
Well, for all of Hartpury's dominance in this second half, a try here for Leeds Beckett would bring them very, very nicely back into the equation. We've seen the manner in which momentum has swung. Can a try again swing Leeds Beckett back into contention? A white wall.
Oh.
Had been built before breaking away.
Why did he break away there? I'm not sure why he did that. That was moving.
And a penalty kills Beckett's ambitions to get on the board in this second half.
Joe Howard.
So Joe Howard, the man with the key intervention. The Beckett player is looking bemused, but you don't think he should have broken off there?
No, you know, 6 and 1 half does the other. Joe Howard done very well to get through on that scene through the middle to break him off, but he's got to, I know it's hard, you get a bit disorientated in a maul. he's got to keep his head up and see where that ball's going, because if he held on the back of that, he was over 5 points in the corner.
Well, one thing that Hartpury have done incredibly well all evening is that they have compounded the Leeds Beckett errors mercilessly. Again, they've chewed off 53 metres here from that penalty, and they've taken Leeds Beckett all the way back into their own half. And true to type, they send the ball skyward. A calamitous attempt from James Gulliver to assert himself in the sky. They really are at 6s and 7s, Leeds Beckett, when the ball goes airborne. And as a Hartpury player, you lick your lips every time the ball goes into the sky now.
Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Hartpury doing a good job with that high ball. Leeds Beckett struggling. Be interesting to see if they have a fix for it. Joey Wynn and Brandon Wood coming off there, both had very, very good games. Yeah, Connor Murphy on at 10.
It's Connor Murphy, not a bad boy to bring off the bench, involved with the Gloucester Academy. And
Josh Harrison.
Is it Josh Harrison?
Yeah, you
who's
can
on
see him with the
at 10?
scrum match in the middle there.
So Josh Harrison in the white scrum hat, far wide on the left, surely forward.
Oh!
And it is much to the disapproval of the Al Pass Arena crowd, but we had prime seats for that.
Yeah, that was forward, that was forward.
I mean, Isaac Marsh has really offered such variety that he takes it flat and draws the attentions of the defence before slipping a no-look pass to Matthew McNabb.
Yeah.
But just squeezing forward. You know, a lot of people might say, well, it was only marginally forward, or it was Super 12 flat, as they used to say back in the day when we first got a glimpse of Southern Hemisphere rugby. But it is those margins that force players through the gap. And
yes. McNabb would have loved that one. He would have. Great try for the highlights, really. Is it Instagram fiend?
Well, good call from the officials. And it gives Leeds Beckett possession in the familiar position of their own half. They spent such little time in Hartpury territory in the second half. See a carry from Pietro Teresi, the young Italian, who is being looked at by England 20s at the moment, and Leeds Beckett stretching their legs finally through Spencer Owen.
Isaac Marsh is everywhere tonight.
Well, that is a monstrous hit from Joe Howard, picking up his opposite man and driving Beckett back to the halfway line. They're forced into putting it on the laces again. Hartpury have the possession back, and I would venture a guess that this ball is going in one direction.
Up. They found their voice now, haven't they?
Well, from the free kick, unconventionally, Hartpury decide to find a touch. We watch Charlie Brabham take to the field. A raft of replacements now on. Callum Hancock, the tight head in 17. Emi Ilinkuta, wearing 18 for Leeds Beckett, the Romanian under-20 prop. And in 19, watch out for Pietro Teresi, and remember the name.
Ooh, that looked like one of mine, that did.
It just has not quite gone to plan for Leeds Beckett, has it, thus far?
No, that's tough. We certainly line up a massive piece of the game. It's tough when it's not firing. Oh, they get another go at it. Is it ours or theirs? Oh, it's ours now. a massive piece of the game. When it's not firing, it's hard for you more to get in the game, hard for you back to get the strike moves. So yeah, tough one.
Well, especially when Leeds Beckett have the potential to be so dominant in their forward pack as well. To lose that outlet and that platform to build destructive drives. The line out, sadly, an Achilles heel for Beckett this evening. But 10 points is not an improbable margin to overcome. And by making things messy for Hartpury, they'll still give themselves a chance. The initial knock-on does come from a white hand, and Hartpury have the scrum. But will there be a sense in the Hartpury minds that they are only 10 points ahead?
Yeah, that'll be in the back of the head. And equally, Leeds will be looking at the clock now. 12 minutes left. They might have to start chasing it a bit. They haven't really got a foothold in this second half. Haven't had many attacking sets. So now they're going to have to try and find something to get themselves into this game to try and score some points.
Well, the scrum to Hartpury, which is an area of the game which has by no means been a banker for them.
Evened up quite nicely in the second half though. Big Cam Hollenstein coming on using his weight. Big first one for Charlie Brabham now. Hopefully he keeps the same platform for him.
So all fresh front rows now. And a potential change in the complexion of how the scrums unfold. I'm going to give you a 10-minute warning here as well, Craney, that man of the match time is probably going to arrive in about 8 minutes, so get your thinking cap on for that.
Got a few ideas.
Some players here will have staked a bit of a claim for themselves. There's some very, very well-known faces from the world of rugby in the crowd this evening. Andy Titterell, the former England hooker.
And
now,
Lions.
Pardon?
Played for the Lions, didn't he?
Did play for the Lions. In South Africa. Is it in South Africa?
No, I think it was New Zealand, 2005.
For the Lions. Well, now England under-20s forward coach, taking a look at some of the players here, and Pat Lamb and the Bristol Bears coaching contingent also having a look at some of the young charges on show this evening, and one of them who's impressed with massive defence but also real silk and attack is Gareth Stevens, who's,
yeah, he's been very good tonight.
Whose hit right there is the catalyst for a Beckett penalty. And Sam Allen will prod Beckett further down the field with a touch finder. Doesn't chew off as much of the touchline as he probably might have wanted. You sense that Leeds Beckett need to gamble a bit here. They need a score.
Need this line out to go well.
And, well, it doesn't once again. It really has
a tough day.
Crippled their ambitions to build driving platforms with their big muscular pack this evening.
There she goes.
And Orisanya deals with the high ball in the same manner in which the rest of his back three have this evening. Just has been a blight on Leeds Beckett so far. And I think it might just be because you're with me, Will Crane, but we're looking at a record number of scrums in a BUCS Super Rugby match this evening, aren't we?
I had a chat with the back three before the game and I said, plenty of scrums please lads, and they've duly obliged, so very happy.
Yeah, second half, when the sun goes down, just stick the bomb up every time you get it, and the Beckett lads are in on it. It's going to be scrum time all game.
Good scrum.
Harry McNabb looking sparky at 9 since coming on, but not finding its intended recipient, his pass. And Beckett again forced back well beyond their 10-metre line. Hartpury still as hungry as ever at the breakdown and in defence.
Good tackle, Danny Ait.
Well, Danny Ait charging out, all 6'5" frame of the boy. He forces the turnover, and Hartpury take things slow and tight. Hollenstein buffeted back. Beckett try and make things a messy picture for Lennon, but he deals with it well, as he has done all night. Hartpury to the boots. But Beckett call the mark, and they'll have just a modicum of relief. 6.5 minutes left, 10 points to get to fashion a draw, but a long, long way to go downfield.
Yes, long way to go, and a tough ask really, with the line out not firing today at all. So be interesting to see what tactic they use here.
Well, what is being said in that Leeds Beckett huddle right there? They know they haven't played their best. They know that their errors have caused them to falter. But can they still come away with something from this match? First and foremost, it will be the losing bonus point. But an early score now would give them enough time to pull off what seems an unlikely victory at the moment. Hartpury's line out. And it's clean off the top.
It's been very good today, Will Goffey. Great line out.
Very, very impressive, Will Goffey. The opening score. The darts have flown true through the night sky so far. And really, you could point at that being the difference. The way in which Leeds Beckett really have just been shorn of one of their key set pieces due to the malfunctioning line out. But another feature of this second half is the aerial assault that Hartpury have launched on Beckett, and they just have not been able to defuse these aerial bombs.
No answer, Oscar Lennon. Great kicking just outside the 22, so no relief in a mark or to find touch. Leeds Beckett struggling to find an answer.
So Oscar Lennon puts into a more assured scrum for Hartpury. That scrum's grown into the game, and this is a player who's impressed every time he's got the ball, Isaac Marsh. Well, no sooner we sing his praises, he gives away a penalty. Such is the way. But other than that, he's just been an all-court player for Hartpury this evening, carrying, distributing, and also sprinkling a bit of je ne sais quoi when he's had his hands on the ball. There's been that element that you don't know what Isaac Marsh is going to do next, which the Leeds Beckett midfield has at times struggled to contain. Beckett finally land a line out of their own, but is it too little, too late? 4 minutes and 50 seconds left on the clock.
Oh, again, he's breaking out. That maul's going forward. Great turn. Oh!
Well, potentially a second nibble there. The ball squirming out of Tom Brooker's hands, and he had another bite.
That was Joey Howard, I think.
Well, the Beckett bench is up, and they're encouraging their boys on. There is still time. They need their line out to land, though. Simon Ridgway found his jumper last time. Okafor calls it to himself, but Ridgway throws it beyond his reach, and Hartpury now will fly.
They've called that line out 3 or 4 times tonight and haven't hit it once. You'd like to think they've got another option to go to.
Spencer Owen throws caution into the wind. He has to. Leeds Beckett have to. But it does give possession to Hartpury, and the game is becoming fractured. Who can capitalise on it from here? Will Hartpury find a score to close this evening out with a flourish? Scott Davies, who's worked hard all night alongside Howard and Brooker.
Oh, big bad Bertie stretches on. Returning to Hartpury for his Masters. It's good to see, number 16.
Well, Cam Hollenstein nuzzles his way forward, but a knock on while scrabbling along the floor. He looks miffed. And with 2 minutes and 39 seconds remaining, and players cramping up left, right and centre across the field, Oscar Lennon near us, who might be a contender, and one of the Beckett boys, who, Mr. Crane, who is your player of the match?
A few notable mentions. So Gareth Stevens for Leeds Beckett had a very good game, both in attack and defence. I think Nick Brown also for Beckett has been industrious, worked very hard, but it's between 1 of 3 for Hartpury. I got Will Goffey, I got Isaac Marshall, I got Oscar Lennon, and sticking with the front row union, I think it's going to have to be Will Goffey. Line-up been exemplary, really kept Hartpury in the game, so they can use that game plan in the second half, putting the high ball up. And he's been very busy around the park, good attacking, good defensive work. So well done, Will Goffey. I'll have that beer later, thank you.
So in an absolute bombshell of an announcement from Will Crane, he selects the Hartpury hooker as the player of the match. But it is very, very just. Will Goffey, he opened the scoring for Pury. He has thrown supremely accurately across the evening to his line-out jumpers, something that Leeds Beckett have struggled with and has proven to be an Achilles heel in their designs to lay a platform to carve out a victory. So Will Goffey, a worthy player of the match as selected by Will Crane. But this one isn't quite done and dusted. 10 points the deficit. Leeds Beckett need to strike swiftly. They did so through Okafor in the first half. It was a moment of rampaging magic from Charalambos, which set up the big galloping second row. Charalambos is off the field, so Beckett will have to look to one of their other magic men. Can they do it from their own 10-metre line? Well, not with miscontrolled scrum ball like that. They somehow, maybe nefariously,
I think the linesman tried to use his mic there.
Regathered possession.
But Hartpury in turn the ball back over. It's a bit of a free-for-all at the breakdown, but Hartpury are the ones coming away with it. They're in command of the scoreboard, they're in command of the clock, and they're in command of the ball. 1 minute and 40 seconds remain. Cam Hollenstein takes a couple of ugly meters that only a front row knows how best to take. Hartpury have weathered various Leeds Beckett storms this evening, and when the opportunities have come, Hartpury have grabbed them. Maybe that's the difference.
Good turnover.
But Beckett will have one more roll of the dice. Onto the boot, into the Hartpury backfield. Wouldn't you know it? They're all there to return with a bit of interest. They don't go to the boot, they don't go to the sky.
Ooh.
Isaac Marsh carries and he gives away the penalty. And if Beckett can get this deep into Hartpury territory, they might just have a chance to take away a losing bonus point from this game. But Danny Ite makes way for the final seconds. A towering presence in the line out. And that really sums things up for Leeds Beckett.
Go on,
and
Albert.
This game, whew, a steamroller has just charged through the Beckett midfield. Sam Allen has been run over.
Time. Great win.
And that ends this match on a physical high for Hartpury. Their players embrace each other. The replacements pour onto the field. That was a hard-fought victory. That was one that meant a lot to this Hartpury side. They've gritted it out against a powerful Leeds Beckett side. They'll have hoped to have been better this evening, but make no bones about it, they've been beaten by the better side. Hartpury, the winners here at the Al Pass Arena. They beat Leeds Beckett 20 points to 10. Well, here's how it went down from the first half, and it was the player of the match, Will Goffey, who got Hartpury rocking and rolling from the driving maul.
Yeah, Will Goffey, very, very good at the line-up today. Been quite impressed with him. Good first driving maul by Hartpury, I think from the 22 metres, said it earlier. Really set the tone for Hartpury's line-out and the way they were going to try and play, so well done.
Well, the driving maul was just the cherry on top of a very, very pleasingly, efficiently run line out for Hartpury. Same couldn't be said for Leeds Beckett, but it was ingenuity and a bit of attacking variation with a chip over the top that saw Matthew McNabb charge through the middle of Leeds Beckett. He fought for extra meters, and then the numerical advantage was ruthlessly capitalised upon. It's Brandon Wood who impressed at fullback all night, reaching across.
Yeah, very good from Brandon Wood all this evening. I said in the first half he cleared the ball up well at the back, kicked the ball very well, and also just popped up on those edges like every good fullback does, and a good try for a good performance.
Well, this was a rare moment of joy for Leeds Beckett on what was really a torrid night for them, created by their own devices, really. John Okafor, try number 5 of this BUCS Super Rugby campaign, set up by Reece Charalambos. And right there, we saw Beckett with a chance to grab the lead, but the dead ball line, beating them to the opportunity. And from there, they failed to score in the second half. An aerial bombardment from Hartpury really tormented Beckett all night.
Yeah, they didn't really have an answer to that, did they? The high ball in the second half, good game plan from Hartpury, coming out, stuck it right outside the 22. Drop ball, Hartpury get going.
Well, there are no tries to report in that second half. It was just the boot of Joe Winfield.
Look at that.
And look at the scenes down there.
Oh, I missed that.
The celebrations will go long into the Gloucestershire nights this evening down at the Owl Pass. The Legends Bar will be pumping all night. Hartpury have secured a key victory against previously undefeated Leeds Beckett. They end this evening 20 points to 10 victors. Will Goffey, the man of the match. And the last word from you, Will, on how this victory will be received in terms of importance for the season moving forward.
Well, I think Murph alluded to it in his pre-match chat. It was easy to get a reaction from the Loughborough game, and to go back-to-back wins against two very good teams will certainly help the Hartpury train get out of the station. So teams will probably look at that now, Hartpury's kicking game, and how they're going to, respond to it. But very well done, great game from both sides.
And what of Leeds Beckett? Hugely frustrating evening for them, because could you say that it was their errors themselves that cost them the match in terms of their line out and also their inability to defuse the aerial kicks? Yeah,
I'd say so. I say their own worst enemy today. They struggled to get a line out going. They couldn't field any of the high ball, and then when they did get chances, they forced that offload, which maybe shouldn't have been there. But it was a gutsy performance. They were in it for 40 minutes, but then Hartpury just pulled away. Good game plan in the second half.
So when we look at a BUCS Super Rugby season, as the Hartpury Ultras are going absolutely ballistic, just to the left of the shot, to the left of the final score graphic, we said the reputations can be made in round 3, but you certainly don't take home any silverware. So it really is a case of not getting too carried away, but also cherishing the victory, and also the fact that you've beaten a side that was previously undefeated.
Yeah, too right. You've got to enjoy these victories, and now it's just all about building consistency for both sides. Leeds will certainly have a look at themselves, have a look at their line out, and then Hartpury have just got to build on it again. Keep the levels there where they showed this game, and then build into what is a thick and fast season. No easy games in this league now.
Well, Dave Rogers is the maniac, waving his arms just behind that Hartpury huddle and just trying to grab a hold of the man of the match, and also Dan Murphy to get a word. And looking at that picture, the unity of the Hartpury team, they just secured a big victory in the huddle, really savouring the moment, and then the disconsolate body language of the Leeds Beckett players leaving the field early, getting into the sheds. I'm sure they're having their own debrief, but every time you take the field for BUCS Super Rugby, it's sheer ecstasy if you win, but it really hurts when you lose.
It's my favourite time at Hartpury so far is BUCS Super Rugby. It is great. You've got all your mates. Like today, you had the 5s, 3s, 2s, all at home. They're all here watching. It's just a great day, and it's an even better night.
And what about how it prepares you for when you go beyond rugby? Because I know it's tough to take, but these days are behind you. But becoming a great rugby player isn't just about being brilliant at rugby. It's about understanding what it feels like to be in a team and to strive as a team to win something, to take something tangible home. And these moments, these nights in front of crowds as well, they prepare you to be a better rugby player, a 360 rugby player.
Yeah, they really do. And certainly at Hartpury, I'm very biased, but I couldn't recommend it more. The programme here is fantastic. You can see the amount of talent that's come through here, not through BUCS but through the under-18s and even the RFC now. So it's a place where rugby is cherished and everyone really enjoys the environment. So it sets you up for rugby and it sets you up for life.
Well, Will Crane, it has been an utter pleasure. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for your insight. But it's time to hear the voice of the next generation of Heartpury hooker. It's Dave Rogers with the winning coach Dan Murphy and man of the match Will Goffey.
Back-to-back BUCS Super Rugby wins. A group of supporters behind us who sound like they've had the best night of their lives. That's a very impressive victory against a good Leeds Beckett side tonight.
Yeah, it's been a good day. We've had lots of rugby on all day, and the crowd have been well fueled, and we're glad we put a performance on for them. I said before the game, we thought we knew how to beat Leeds Beckett, and if we implemented it, we would, and we did.
Massive tactical change in the second half. Was that talked about at half-time? I mean, you kicked them to death. You realised that was a weakness in their game and fully exploited it.
Yeah, it's something we've been working on during pre-season, our exiting game. It worked tonight. You exit well, you get away from your try line, you get close to theirs. Simple.
Well, what I found quite interesting as well is I was eavesdropping in the team talk. I'm not going to give too many trade secrets away, but a few lads saying that it is belief that you're going to need throughout the season. A few more saying that maybe you left a bonus point out there this evening. I mean, that shows incredible ambition after a performance like that.
Yeah, we'll look at that on Friday in our analysis. Few frustrating moments as a coach out there, but hey, first thing is to get 4 points, get that win. And against top of the table, a good Leeds outfit. They've come out here and they've put a real good performance into us, and we've come out on the right side. But that's all we wanted tonight. That win first.
What about the evening itself then? Wednesday night lights here. We spoke to Sean Lynn earlier, the man who you've taken the mantle from, and he talks about this league with such a great glow. He absolutely loves it. Everyone seems to. What does it mean to you to put a performance on like that in front of a good few hundred here this evening at the Alpas?
Yeah, it's class, and to have as many supporters as we have tonight, it's been amazing. It's just a Wednesday. There's a different feeling on campus. There's sport everywhere. It's not just rugby. There's football. There's netball, under-18s, university. It's an amazing place to be, and to finish it off under lights with all the support is a class feeling.
It's a special place. We're going to talk to the man of the match shortly. It could have been any number of players this evening, though. There were some great performances out there for your side today.
Yeah. We one of the things we went into is to take Leeds' line out away and impose ours, and Will was definitely part of this. He's come a long way with his arrows, and he's done a great job tonight.
Well, he certainly has. Thank you very much for having a chat.
Thank
Pass
you.
that over to him. Our man of the match, the hooker, with Luke Stratford on the coaching staff and Will Crane actually selecting the man of the match. It was no surprise you got it, but fabulous performance this evening. You got yourself over the whitewash just behind us there, and as Coach rightly pointed out, the arrows were on point this evening. Great performance. How did it feel?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, the boys worked as one tonight, and we did the job that we set out to do. We've had 2 good training sessions at the start of the week, and we needed to take it in and perform tonight, and that's what we did.
Well, it's two victories in a row now. We spoke about that back to back. How did you pick yourself up after that tight one against Loughborough? Because it's not the kind of league where you're going to go a season undefeated.
Well, I think as a team, you're going to win and you're going to lose as a team. And we took the loss at the start, and we knew we had to turn it up and change. And we adapted, and the next week we came back in, and we took back for their home ground. And obviously back to back tonight, I think it's working as one group, one team, one dream. We've really stood out there today.
What about the physicality of the match? Because I was stood on the touchline and it seemed like there were some brutal shots going in from both sides.
Yeah, I mean, that's what BUCS Super Rugby is about, isn't it? It's the top of the university leagues, it's the physical. And the boys stepped up today, fronted up, and then we took it to Leeds Beckett tonight, and that's why we came out with the score that we did.
Before we talk about the set piece, a word for the backs in behind you and the way they kicked you into positions today. I think they deserve a pat on the back.
Yeah, I think definitely the backs did what they needed to do as well, and it really helped the forwards. We set the base and they executed. So.
What about that set piece then? Because it allows you to build platform, it allows you to build field position. You with the number 2 on your back, it is a massive part of your game. How good does it feel for you when it goes as well as it did this evening?
Yeah, I think it's great. We worked on it very hard, and the lifters and the jumpers, without them, the set piece wouldn't work. So them on the end of my line out was excellent. We're just getting that detail, and we've nailed it down this week. So.
And Cardiff met next week, massive game. They've got a great victory this evening, 32-30 at Kincoid against Loughborough, who started great guns themselves. But you're going to be taking momentum into that too. That's going to be a cracking game.
Yeah, it's going to be class. I mean, Cardiff met away, sorry. It's a big fixture, but we're going to take it, and we're going to take it to them. So.
Congratulations, you are the man of the match. What happens this evening now? Quiet one?
A couple of beers after, and then nice quiet one for recovery tomorrow. So
Well,
we
enjoy
move
it.
into next week.
Congratulations to
Thank you
you,
very
and
much.
congratulations to Hartpury, who head to Kincoid next week for another absolute BUCS Super Rugby classic in the making. Of course, Big John Okafor got himself on the score sheet, but it was Hartpury who showed they are ready to mingle at the top of BUCS Super Rugby. Until next week, goodbye.